Welcome, people. Welcome. We have another one for you. It's better than the other one. So that's being said, let's go ahead. What we have here, people, this is from the pulpit to the cell to hell. I mean, from the pulpit to jail to the cell. From the pulpit to the jail to cell to hell. Yes. That's where they belong. From the pulpit straight to the penitentiary cell. Yes, sir. And what we have today is this rabbi. He couldn't do it himself, so he had to pay somebody else. I mean, my point is always gonna be the exact. And I just got through going through this. If you don't like her, I'm telling you, it's cheaper to keep her. I don't love her, but I need her. It's cheaper to keep her. I don't want her, but I need her. Oh my God. So let's get into it, y'all. Let's check out this rabbi. You know, all you special leaders that's out here today, spiritual, social, something is spiritually possessing you guys. Go ahead, people. Like, comment, and subscribe so you can get this next video. And we finna get into it. Just a second. In just a second. Let's go.
The rabbi's $30,000 betrayal. Cherry Hill, New Jersey, November 1st, 1994, 7:30 in the evening. Carol Newlander was at home with her husband, Fred. They'd been married for 29 years, raised 3 children together, built a life around their synagogue, where Fred served as a respected rabbi. Carol had just returned from a dinner event. She walked into their living room, and that's when 2 men attacked her. She was bludgeoned, beaten savagely with a metal pipe, her skull fractured and multiple.
Why a lady though, man? I mean, even though there's some women that are bodybuilders, some women are masculine, but you don't need to do a woman like this. You really don't. But you know, how you got to go is how you got to go. I guess you reap what you sow. I'm not even going to put that in the diaspora. I'm just going to say, Rabbalicious, you fit to be Rabbalicious in that penitentiary.
Places. Fred Newlander called 911, screaming that his wife had been attacked. "She's not breathing. Please, you have to help her." Paramedics rushed Carol to the hospital, but it was too late. Carol Newlander died from her injuries. And Rabbi Fred Newlander, he played the grieving husband perfectly. But
why they think they can always get with it? I mean, you know, you're not going to be able to convince someone that specializes in you're lying. Because everything that you do until you prove that you're innocent to them, you're lying. So why do you think you're going to get away with it?
Investigators weren't convinced. Fred Newlander wasn't just any rabbi. He'd founded Congregation Makor Shalom, built it from nothing into a thriving community with over
See, Shalom, the Hebrew, it doesn't matter what religious belief system you in. There's some good and there's some bad.
1,000 members. He was charismatic, eloquent, trusted. But behind the facade, Fred was living a double life. Investigators discovered he'd been having an affair with an Aileen Soncini for over 2 years. Phone records, hotel receipts, secret meetings. Fred Newlander had been cheating on Carol for years.
Wow.
And here's where it gets worse. Friends said Fred had been talking about divorce, that Carol didn't want to end the marriage, that Fred felt trapped. So what did he do? He decided to eliminate the problem. Fred Newlander reached out to a private investigator named Len Genoff. He told Genoff he had a problem that needed to be taken care of. Genoff understood exactly what that meant. Fred offered him $30,000
Wow.
cash to kill his wife. Genoff
$30,000.
agreed. He recruited another man, Paul Daniels. Together, they planned Carol's murder. On that November evening, they waited for Carol to come home. Then they attacked. Brutal, merciless, over in minutes. Fred Newlander came home shortly after, called 911, played the devastated husband. And for years, it worked. But guilt is a powerful thing. The confession that broke the case. For years, the case went cold. Investigators suspected Fred, but they couldn't prove it. Then, in 2000, 6 years after Carol's murder, Len Genoff walked into a police station, and he confessed everything.
Wow.
He said the guilt had been eating him alive.
That's right.
That he couldn't live with what he'd done.
Mm-hmm.
He detailed the plot, the payment, the murder, and he named Fred Newlander as the man who'd hired him. Prosecutors finally had what they needed. Fred Newlander's trial was a media circus. His own children testified against him. His affair was exposed in excruciating detail. The defense argued there was no physical evidence tying Fred to the crime, that Genoff was a liar trying to reduce his own sentence, but the jury didn't buy it. In 2002, Fred Newlander was convicted of murder for hire. He was sentenced to life in prison.
Why not the death penalty?
The rabbi who'd preached love and faith, he'd orchestrated his wife's murder for money and freedom. Carol Newlander's family wept in court. Her daughter said her father had destroyed their family twice, once when he killed their mother, and again when he betrayed everything they believed in. Fred Newlander died in prison in January 2024. He was 82 years old. He spent his final decades behind bars, a far cry from the pulpit where he once commanded respect. But Fred's story isn't even the most twisted on this list.
Hey, people. Fred wasn't no joke. And, ain't nobody to judge but God. But at the same time, Fred, that wasn't right. I don't, if you are in a relationship with a woman and you do not see that it's going nowhere, the best thing to do is just let it go. Let it burn. Let it burn. Don't burn like burn, but let it burn. Come on, man. She didn't deserve that. So, the guy that did it confessed and everything, because that guilt trip. One little story right quick. Little story. It was some people that I grew up around, family or whatever. They out of the Bay Area, Oakland, California. And it was this guy that was dating this girl. And he ended up, his name started with a W. He ended up killing her. And nobody knew about it. I have 1, 2, 3 people, like on different accounts, told me the same story at different times. And they told the same exact story. They was all chilling in the Bay Area in this place right after she came up missing. Nobody knew where she was at. She came up missing. And then, I think they found her, whatever. But one night they was all in that house and they heard some screams. Nobody knew where it was coming from. And then they finally pinpointed it was coming from the attic. It was a woman's scream. And she was yelling out the name. W did it. W did it. I ain't gonna say his name, but she was just yelling out, W did it. W did it. That man, W, went when the sun came up. I don't even think they went to sleep. They couldn't have went to sleep. When the sun came up, he went and turned himself in. So that's not always a good thing. So peace and love to the family on both sides, because I'm pretty sure that on his side, they wasn't expecting that. And I know on her side, they wasn't expecting that. So peace and love to both sides. And to your next video, push that subscribe button, like and comment so we can get our next video going. Peace and love, people. Peace and love. Till our next time.